Welcome back to a new year of Tailgaters. Since we've been gone, a lot has happened in the sports world, and we're excited to be back here to bring it all to you.
That's right, Bradley. There's a ton of stuff I'm excited to talk about tonight.
Yeah, and first, today we'll be previewing the Super Bowl, the final game of the NFL season, bringing you the top storylines, and we'll also be talking about the most recent Hall of Fame voting and discussing what we thought about that.
But first, we're going to pay tribute to Kobe Bryant. The tributes and reactions from players around the league have shown just how meaningful he was. And all the players he mentored over the summers and the players who idolized him as kids. Kobe had the ability to create success in whatever he did. He was a New York Times bestselling author. In his book, Mamba Mentality, he won an Oscar for his digital short called Dear Basketball. If there was anything he wanted to do, he was going to find success in it. He never did anything halfway through, and that's how I think he should be remembered. And the best way he showed that was being a father to his 3 daughters.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I almost couldn't believe the news whenever I saw it. I thought it was an internet prank. I'm sure a lot of people did. Watching Shaq, he thought the same. He thought it was a prank. He told us, I think it was his nephew, get this out of my face. Why are you showing me this? And I think that was everyone's reaction. And just before we go to break real quick, I would like to give my own Kobe story. And I know you have probably already heard dozens of testaments and memories about Kobe from people that knew Kobe in the game of basketball much more than I do. But I'd still like to tell mine because I think it shows the incredible impact he had on everyone who watched him. My first memory of watching Kobe was when I was 7 years old. I was on a vacation in Colorado with my family, and it was the 2007 NBA playoffs. I remember sitting in a restaurant, and I looked up at the TV and saw a man sprinting up and down the court and making plays like I had never seen before. And I turned to my dad and asked, "Who was that?" I was starstruck. And he turned to me and said, "Well, that's Kobe Bryant. He's the best player in the NBA." And it should be noted, currently and growing up, the Dallas Mavericks are my favorite NBA team. Their 2011 finals victory was the single fondest memory in my sports life. That being said, my very first memory watching the NBA was not Dirk's one-legged fadeaway or Jason Kidd's spectacular dimes, or even the heartbreak of the 2006 NBA Finals to the Miami Heat. But it was watching Kobe Bryant's greatness in a Colorado restaurant when I was 7 years old during the NBA playoffs. And that greatness that he possessed in basketball, motivational speaking, storytelling as a husband, and most importantly, as a father, will carry on even in his passing for all eternity. And with that, I want to give my condolences to the Bryant family and the families of everyone who lost people in that helicopter crash.
After the short break, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, as we are joined by MUTV staffer, Reese Wegman. How are you today, Reese?
I'm doing really great. It's great to be back on campus and great to be here with you guys.
All right, and before we get into this, who you got for the Super Bowl?
I think I'm going to take the 49ers.
49ers?
Yes. Maybe in a little bit of opposition to everybody else, but I like to see them pull it out.
All right, well, you heard it first from Reese Wegman. He's going with the 49ers. But instead of just going through our predictions like everyone's doing, we're just going to highlight some of the top storylines from this game. Marcus, would you like to go first?
Yeah, everyone's talking about Mahomes versus the Niners defense or the 49ers rushing attack against the Chiefs defense. But I think those really balance each other out. I don't think the 49ers defense could really do too much to stop Mahomes. I mean, no one really in the NFL can. The 49ers rushing attack has been extremely good all year. The Chiefs defense has a great run stopping. But between Mahomes' offense and their 49ers rushing attack, I don't think either one of them, I think they kind of balance each other out. I think Jimmy G is going to have to play an amazing game to give the 49ers a chance. I don't think the 49ers can let this game turn into a shootout either, because Mahomes is going to win every shootout he's in. And the Chiefs' special teams needs to play extremely well. They can't have any flaws, because they've had a lot of mistakes in the season, and they've come close to costing them games. If they don't play relatively mistake-free in this game, I think it will cost them in the end.
Well, I disagree with you on a little bit. So I know the Niners don't have the big-name offensive players outside of George Kittle that the Chiefs have, but they put up a ton of points this year. And Mahomes hasn't won every shootout he's ever been in. There was the one against the Rams last season. There's been a couple this year, including against the Titans in the regular season. Not that those were his fault by any means, but he can be there has been offenses that have outscored him in big scoring games. And you're right, if it is a shootout, Jimmy G will have to show up. But they have so many weapons. San Francisco does. They might not have this big standout weapon, but all their receivers have had constant production. And they don't really drop the ball that much, which we've seen in this NFL playoff. It's been weird. Like against the Ravens, that's what really got them. And their running attack has been awesome in these playoffs. So I still give them a chance, even if it gets down to a shootout. Plus, San Francisco has a better defense, so I think that kind of equalizes the two offenses. And not to knock Kansas City's defense. They've done great this postseason, but San Francisco has been second best to the Patriots in the league all year.
So yeah, I think the 49ers are really going to have to get out to a good start. All throughout the playoffs, the Chiefs have gotten off to really slow starts, and the Chiefs have to try to correct that. But if that trend continues, the 49ers have to capitalize early and try to get their offense going in the right direction. If the 49ers offense slows down at all, if either the passing game, the rushing game, or just in time possession, I think the Chiefs are going to take over really easily. I think the 49ers have to be super, super efficient and do their game to the best of their ability on offense.
Yeah, I agree. And one more storyline, big storyline that I don't think enough people are talking about, unless you have a DraftKings, is who's going to start, Tevin Coleman or Raheem Mostert? I've looked at reports. Coleman's expected to play. He's got his dislocated shoulder. I guess they just popped that thing back in and like, all right, let's go. Let's play the Super Bowl. But Mostert, undrafted, never started for a team before, went off for one of the best rushing performances in NFL history. 220 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that's from the backup running back. So that's the thing. Do you stick with Mostert, who has the hot hand, or go back to the banged-up starter and Tevin Coleman? I personally think they're going to keep it with Mostert most of this game, unless Coleman really looks like he's going to take over. Because even when Coleman was healthy, they'd still split carries.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Mostert starting in their last playoff game, against the Packers, whenever Coleman got injured, and he just has one of the all-time greatest performances. That's with all these all-time greats in the Hall of Fame, and then you have Raheem Mostert at the top of the list for top rushing yards in a postseason game. So if I'm the 49ers, I'm sticking with Mostert. What do y'all think?
I think you also have to remember that Matt Breida is there too, and he's a really
That's
good
true.
change of pace back. The 49ers have 3 solid running backs, and all of them can hurt you in different ways. And I think the Chiefs' defense has to do a lot to make sure they can stop all 3.
I totally agree. I think they're going to utilize all 3 running backs in this game, but I would say they'll probably roll with Mostert to start. They've already been splitting carries, and so I don't think they're going to give the nod to Coleman totally out of the gate, being a little banged up. I think they start with Mostert, and, see how Coleman's feeling, kind of ease him in, give him a few snaps. Then if he starts playing, maybe they'll, increase his snap count. But yeah, I think they're going to do by feeling. I think Mostert is probably going to get the nod the most often.
Yeah, and I actually like to your point about Breida. He's a bigger back. Coleman and Mostert. I mean, y'all can argue with me on this, but I feel like they're kind of similar.
Yeah.
Where Breida, like you said, change of pace. So, yeah, I really think that they're going to utilize Breida no matter what, unless they see something. And obviously, they're there watching tape all week, so they know better than we do what is going to hurt Kansas City's defense the most. But I expect them to run with Breida, and then they're going to have to choose Coleman or Mostert. And I feel like one of them is going to get like 4 carries, and one of them is going to get like 15.
Yep.
And it'll be really interesting to see what kind of game plan they choose, because it'll really decide the direction of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Reese, for joining us. After this, we'll be talking about the MLB Hall of Fame votes and the elections of Derek Jeter and Larry Walker. Welcome back, everyone. Time really flies. We're on our final topic of the day. The MLB announced their Hall of Fame voting results on the 21st, electing both Derek Jeter and Larry Walker to the Cooperstown with 99.7% of the votes for Jeter and 76.6% for Walker, respectively. Bradley, what do you think of the decision?
I have 3 words for whoever didn't vote Derek Jeter. Come on, man. Like, every other vote is going to vote Jeter, and you're just going to be the one guy who messes it up for him. I mean, this going back to tribute to Kobe, he has, in my opinion, the Mamba mentality compared to baseball. The tenacity, everyone remembers 2001 playoffs, the flip against, who's that against again? Oakland A's. Against the Oakland A's to put them away. They won that game 1-0. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up Derek Jeter flip play. It was insane. Guy throws it from the outfield, the throw is offline, like diving, tosses it to the catcher, gets him out. He has a winning mentality, winning 4 World Series, which you don't see that. You know, Tom Brady and the Patriots, that's an anomaly. Having those 4 World Series in his career is huge. That is huge. And I think he should have been unanimous. I know we were debating this before the show. There's only one other person who's ever been unanimous, but I think Jeter should have gotten the nod.
Don't get me wrong, Derek Jeter deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He deserved a really high percentage. People should vote for him. I don't think he should have got 99.7% of the votes. Growing up for the longest time, it was well known in the baseball community that no one was ever going to be unanimous. It was just the way things were. No one was ever going to get all the votes. There's too many people on ballots. It just wasn't going to happen. And then a closer, Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer of all time, don't get me wrong, but a closer, a position that's been arguably the hardest position to play and get into the Hall of Fame, besides maybe like DH, was the first unanimous player. It doesn't make sense to me. Ken Griffey Jr. got 99.3% of the votes, 2 votes from unanimous. I would rather have Ken Griffey Jr. on my team than I would have Derek Jeter. Ken Griffey Jr. brought the fun, and he made baseball bigger than baseball. He attracted fans that everyone knew who Derek Jeter was because of his professionalism and from being in New York. Ken Griffey Jr. played in Seattle and Cincinnati, not the biggest markets, but you knew Ken Griffey Jr. He did so many other things that helped promote baseball worldwide that I don't think Derek Jeter really did. Derek Jeter was phenomenal for baseball purists because of his professionalism and the way he handled the New York market and the media there. But he wasn't that great of a baseball player all around. His defense, advanced sabermetrics show he wasn't a great defensive player.
Man. All right, keep going. I'm hearing you out.
And Larry Walker should never have been on the ballot for all 10 years. His stats and the Coors effect didn't matter. He played for the Expos for a long time as well. But because he played in Coors with the Rockies for so long, people didn't think he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame because of the inflation of stats. But he played better away than he did at home. Larry Walker should have been in the Hall of Fame a while ago.
I'm not going to debate you on Larry Walker, but I'd like to revisit the Jeter argument. First of all, I think it's debatable, the Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter, who's the better player. I hear your argument and it's valid, but I feel like there's just as many people who would say Jeter's a better player. And if you're basing your argument on, well, Ken Griffey didn't get unanimous, so Jeter shouldn't because I think Jeter's better, or I think Griffey's better, even though some people would argue Jeter's better anyways, you can't really use that because if you're basing it on votes, like you said, Mariano Rivera got unanimous, so if you're basing it on Ken Griffey Jr. not getting in, who would you rather have unanimous, Derek Jeter or Mariano Rivera?
Derek Jeter.
Exactly. So if you're basing it on past votes, I think you have to give it to him just because, if the voters messed up, they messed up. You got to back it up. And as far as defensive, I mean, there's a whole defensive throw that thousands of players across the nation implement by Derek Jeter. The jump throw, like Elvis Andrus. Javi Baez, all the top shortstops, you'd see them do that run to the side, jump, throw across their body. I haven't seen the metrics, you have, so I got to believe you on that one. But just from seeing him with my own eyes and everyone else seeing him, he in his best play ever is arguably a defensive play. And so I'd like to take that debate there. And so I think he should have been unanimous. I think Ken Griffey should have been unanimous too. And I don't think Jeter should be kept from being unanimous because they messed up and didn't put Griffey in as unanimous.
I agree. They probably both should be unanimous. There have been a ton of players that should have been unanimous. I understand why some voters don't vote for players that everyone knows is going to get in. Like, they want to keep other players on the ballot longer, or they want to keep other guys on the ballot because if you get less than 5% of votes, you fall off and you're just never going to get a good look. And they've done that from time to time to keep guys around who they think deserve a harder look and a closer dive in. Larry Walker rose 35% the last 3 years he was on the ballot to get in. So it's players like that who don't have the votes that they should early on that they keep around. But Griffey, game changer, Jeter, game changer. They both should be unanimous players, I will admit.
Well, see, talking to our friend Zach Aaron, whose dad is actually one of the Hall of Fame voters, it seems that you get 10 people that you can vote for. You can write off 10 people on the ballot. It seems like none of them put all 10 names.
No one does.
So you were saying like people just don't vote for people they know that are going to get in because they want to vote other people. They have leeway to do both. They just don't. And that doesn't make sense to me. Like if you want to keep people on the ballot, but you think someone should get in the Hall of Fame and you're just assuming they're going to get in anyways, why don't you just vote for both?
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of voters have a cap on how many they're willing to vote for because there's a very big movement in the voting community to keep the Hall of Fame closed and like small. They don't want a lot of people getting in. Like the NFL elects like 7 players every year. And a lot of those players are deserving, but there's a lot of times where a player who was very good, but not like a great player gets in because they have the 7-person minimum get in. With baseball, you never know how many are going to get elected. 2 got elected this year. I think like 3 or 4 maybe got elected last year.
I saw something that 2 have been elected the last 4 or 6 years, which is like not normal. Normally, like some years it's only 1. I don't know if has there ever been a year where there's been 0?
I don't think so. I think there was
That
a
would be-
couple. I think there was a couple years where it was, yeah, very small, like 1 or 2, just a couple players getting in every year, and a lot of people were very upset by that. So I think the voters are trying to vote for more people in, or have, and I think baseball has been kind of on the upswing of talent lately. So there's more Hall of Fame worthy players on the ballot, which is helping them vote more people in.
Yeah, I'm starting to think, like I saw Barry Bonds had 56% or something like that. I'm starting to think the person who didn't vote for Jeter was a Barry Bonds homer and decided to go with him instead. That's my hot take. I mean, I don't know that for sure. That's just what I'm assuming. Like, who else?
Yankees
don't know.
beat writer. A Yankees beat writer would probably be the only, or wait, no, Red Sox beat writer.
I was about to say,
yeah,
like,
Red Sox, mixed them up. Red Sox beat writer would probably be the only person who wouldn't want Derek Jeter in the Hall of Fame.
That's more likely, but I'm going to believe it was a Barry Bonds homer.
I think Barry Bonds and Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame as well. I know that's a hot take, because
It's a different argument. We can do that next time. We'll put it on the agenda. All right, but that'll do it for our show. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in every Thursday. For my co-host Marcus Thomas, I'm Bradley Davis. Have a good night.